going to mention importance of planning your meals. Why is it even necessary? Do you even need to take time to do this? Everything needs time. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about the components of a good meal. And then also we're going to talk about the sample. If we have time, we're going to I have a feeling we may have to put that to tomorrow because tomorrow I'll get the co-host on live. But if we have time, we will do it so that she will be free. Otherwise, we are going to go back to this tomorrow because we have a lot of stuff to share. So we're going to talk about sample breakfast, sample lunch that you could do, and also sample dinners that you can make. And then I'll throw out a challenge for you to make one necessary dietary change, one change that you can do. I know everybody has one thing that they can do better. Everybody, including me, that is sharing this information. There's one food that I'm trying to stop, and I want to make that challenge. So I want you to agree with me on one also on your own part, one kind of food that you know that that food, if you stop, it will be better. Not only are you not going to get diabetes, you're probably going to lower your blood pressure. And probably, if you're diabetic, you're probably going to lower your blood glucose. You're going to treat it better. So that is a challenge that we want to have. If we don't have time, I'll put it on the community link so that you will see it later. But if hopefully we do. But for now, let's move on and see what we got today. So before we move forward again, if you haven't shared or subscribed to our channels, make sure you do that so that you will get notifications. We had people that spoke to us today and said that they were following our videos, but for some reason they are not seeing it anymore. Because you're not subscribed, you will not see it. If you're subscribed, whenever we post something, especially when you also click the follow and the bell buttons, then YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching from, they will notify you when we go live. So I do ask the honor, and if you are enjoying the content, just do so. Subscribe, follow, share, and the bell button that is shaking right there on your screen. It's going to be on the bottom of your screen so that you will not miss out on any of the things we share. All right, so with that being said, let's move forward. So, the importance of meal planning. So, I was saying that why is it even necessary to plan your meals? Why is it even necessary? Yes, and I'm going to use this chance to talk about the importance that comes with planning your meals. All right, and the first one is that when you plan your meals, you become intentional about the types of food you eat. So planning is actually work. You put in work, and because you're putting in some work, there's going to have an outcome that is better than if you did not plan. Just let's break it down. If you go to your refrigerator right now, if you're hungry and you open your refrigerator, whatever is in the fridge, because you're hungry, you may be tempted to just pick it up and eat. Why? Because you're hungry and that's all you got in the fridge. Compared to somebody who has made a conscious effort to plan, especially days ahead, who goes, makes sure that everything is in its place. When they go to the fridge, they know exactly what they're going to pick up to eat because of the planning earlier on in the week, or even if it's in the morning, they have made considerations as to what they are going to eat. So meal planning, because of the work you put in, also has an output that is better for your overall health. So it is intentional. It makes you decide the right things. You have the time to make sure that you're putting the right things in your fridge or on your stove or wherever you store your food. That way you don't just eat for eating sake, but you eat because you have planned to eat the right stuff. So if you don't want to get diabetes, if you don't want your blood pressure to go up the chart, if you don't want your blood sugar to rise if you're already diabetic, you have to start trying to be intentional about the things you eat, and you start by planning. Intentions come when you plan your meal. So that's one advantage of meal planning, is it makes you intentional. It puts work in the things you eat. You don't just grab anything and eat. All right. So the next thing is that it makes you consider your available choices. You have choices if you plan, and you actually plan for your choices. If you don't plan for your meals, you basically just, as we said earlier, just open the fridge, open your cubby, and whatever is there is what you eat. You go to the grocery shop, there's no plan to it. So, this thing looks good. You grab it off the shelf and you buy it, and you come and eat, and it is hurting you. But if you plan, you know your choices because you are planning according to your health and your spouse's health or your children's health, because you are concerned about the family's health. When you go for groceries, when you go to shop at the supermarket, you don't just pick up anything, all because your available choices become plain to you, and planning will make you choose the right stuff. So meal planning makes you have your choices considered. And of course, if you do that, you are going to choose the right stuff. All right. And so that is one other advantage of meal planning. And then the last advantage that I put here is consistency. If you plan your meals, you becoming consistent. Or if you don't plan, today you eat this, tomorrow you eat that, and you have no idea what's coming next because there's no plan to what you eat. You just grab what you get, whether it's in the fridge, whether it's in the oven, wherever it is. You just pick up shopping, restaurant. You just go out there and you eat because you have no plan. But if you plan, you become consistent. You know what day of the week to eat. Consistency comes with time, right? You know what kinds of foods to eat every Sunday. Oh, every Sunday I'm going to make sure that Sundays are chill days. So Sundays I'll eat this. Mondays are heavy work days. When I come home, I'm tired. I don't want to eat a huge meal and then go to bed right with it. So Mondays are light days. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying your Mondays should be light days, but when you plan, you become consistent. Daily, planning of what you eat become consistent. So planning makes your you are consistently eating healthy. But if you leave it to chance, again, you go to this church program, food is distributed because you don't plan what you eat that day. Oh, there's food. You grab everything and you eat. That is not a person who is looking out for their health. A person who's looking out for their health and will look at the foods available and say that, hey, um, Wednesdays or Sundays, I only eat this. Or even if, this, I know that this is how much calories I can take on this day. And so I don't think I should grab this. Maybe I should grab the other one. Or maybe I'm not going to get anything today because this is not in my plan today. That is, come on, man, that is a person who is consciously making the effort to eat right and to control their blood sugars, even if you don't have diabetes. That is how you avoid being diabetic. Not just eating anything that comes your way, but planning consistently to eat the right things. It leads to consistency in healthy diet. So I think that convinces you enough to make you know that meal planning is important not only for diabetics but for any health conscious person out there who is making sure that they want to eat and live right and healthy. All right, so with that being said, now what are the components of a healthy meal? Now, before I go there, let me just go to a break. I know some of the regulars, some of the regulars are asking about where is the young lady who is always on the live with him? Why is he alone? Are they divorced? No, come on, man. We are still here. Come on, man. No way. We are still here. Unfortunately, well, I should say fortunately too. We went to a convention and she is down. Her throat is sore. She cannot even talk today because if she talks, you cannot hear. And so she had to be excused today. That's why my co-host Gifty is not on the live today. But I'm hoping that she will be fine because tomorrow she's off and I'm off. So I hope, I don't leave her alone. Come on. I may get her on the live tomorrow, even though it's not a typical day. She can't just go without a live show in a week. But her throat has gotten her. She sang too much at church, at a convention, and prayed too much that you can't even hear her voice. So that's why I'm alone on here. But she's by my side here. She's watching and giving me all the moral support. So that is why Gifty is not on the live. Those of you who are watching and asking, where is the co-host? The co-host will be back on as soon as possible. All right, thank you for asking if you did. Come on, man. All right. So that was a little break. Now let's move on. So the next item on our agenda today is what are the components of a meal, a healthy meal. So we are talking about meal planning to fight against diabetes, right? So what even makes it to a meal plan? What kind of meals are we talking about? Do you just mix everything together and say that you are planning and so that is what you got? That is not what we are saying. We are saying that even before you even plan meals, you have to know the kinds of meals that you should eat. And so we just want to use a few slides to talk about the kinds of meals that we think should be in a plan for a person who is conscious about living well and healthy, fighting against diabetes or protecting themselves against diabetes, a person who has a family history of diabetes, or a person whose weight is on the verge of leading them to, high blood glucose levels. If you want to change that trend, these are some of the things that you should include in your meals. So it is not just for a person who is already diabetic. I know not all viewers are diabetic, and so we want to make sure that you are going to get a benefit of it anyway. So what are the components? What constitutes a meal that you should eat? Before we even put the examples of meals together, what constitutes a meal? Well, we're going to talk about one of them as the whole or unprocessed foods. That's a component of meals that we want to talk about. So if you are watching us and you want to protect yourself from getting diabetes, or even if you have hypertension and you want to reduce the effects on your life, first thing we're going to talk about is your meals should include unprocessed materials, unprocessed foods, or whole foods is what you should be looking at. And then the second component of your meals should be fiber. Fiber should be rich. You should have a fiber-rich diet. So whatever foods you eat, see if there is enough fiber on board for you. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is adequate hydration, drinking well. But then what kind of drinks are you going to be drinking? We want to talk about that too. Drinking water or drinking what? We want to talk about that also. And then also a component of a healthy diet for a person who is conscious of not getting diabetes, stroke, and heart disease is one that is also full of portioned complex carbohydrates. From where I come from, we love our carbs, but then we want to talk about what kind of carbohydrates. And I think by this you already know, using complex carbohydrates and not just using them, but also going by portion sizes. So that's another component of healthy diet. And then the last but one is a component called proteins. But in this sense, we're talking about lean proteins. Lean proteins. And then we're going to talk about healthy fats. Healthy fats, you're going to have fats on board. Yes, fats can be healthy. Some people think that oils and fats are always bad. No, if your sources are bad, then your oils and fats are always bad. But if you've gotten the right sources, then you can have some nice fat and some nice oils in your diet, which you actually need, as a healthy person to be on board with your diet. So that is something that we also want to say. With that, let's consider them one at a time quickly. And if we have time, we will continue. If not, after this, we will break it and then do another show about the real examples of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which we think would be a good thing. So let's take a look about this. So the first one is the whole foods that we were talking about. Whole foods, by whole foods or unprocessed foods, what we mean is that if you want to fight diabetes, or if you are fighting any sort of health condition and you want to eat healthy, you should stick to unprocessed. What is processing? Processing means putting it in a machine. Sometimes it's not just a machine, but you yourself, you make up some machines home. Like pounding. If you are pounding yam or cassava or yuca to make it into a ball, you are processing it. Come on, man. I hope those of you who eat fufu, that's what you're doing. You are eating processed food. Fufu is processed food, especially if your fufu or your dumpling is already made into a powder form, and you got a powder, you heated your water, you mixed it, and you made it into a ball and add soup onto it with fish meat or whatever it is. You are eating processed food, even though it seems like not processed because it's not in a can, right? No, processing basically means you are breaking it down further into smaller units. And so it may have been done in the factory, or you may buy the whole food at home, in the shop, bring it home, and then you process it down to make it so small that your body can pick it up too quick. The whole idea is you are eating unprocessed, untouched foods that are in their natural state. So you pick it from the farm, you don't do anything to it. All you do to it is to wash it and make it clean. That's it. You don't cut it into little pieces first, or you don't blend it in a blender first. No, you bring the whole thing and add it into your diet. So the blender is your chewing ability, is you chewing it or you eating it. That is where the processing is. But if you pre-process it in some form, that is not healthy enough. Why? Because when you do that, you increase the rate at which your body can pick up sugar from it. And so if you are eating fufu, if you are eating any starchy thing, any dumpling, anything that has been pre-made, you are making it so easy for your body to pick up. You know, I know I can be in trouble. The way to do it, if I should say, is that if you want to eat that, what you want to do is not buy the powdered one. You cook the raw yuca or raw yam, raw plantain. You boil it yourself, and then use your own blender to blend it. At least in that sense, it will not be as smooth as the person that has already powdered it up in a shop, and for you to just mix it. That is so processed, and also you don't know what they're adding to make its shelf life longer, to make it not expire. So when you are boiling it yourself and then pounding it, at least you are processing it, but not as bad as when it's processed in the store. So that is the caveat to that. So yeah, avoiding those things is a good thing. So you have to have whole foods, whole unprocessed foods. Other examples are fruits and vegetables. When you include veggies and fruits, it seems like we say it all the time, but beloved, as we say it always in our conclusion, it is what it is, as we say in the USA. It is what it is. You can change it. That is what it is. If you don't want to be eating processed foods, your foods must include whole food, such as fruit itself. It's a full fruit. You bite into it and you eat it, not juice from the fruit that is processing. You eating it raw or however it is in your mouth in its natural state. And then grains, whole grains, beans, lentils, all those things are whole foods. And so you avoid the mashing or the blending from the factories or the canning process that also introduce additional harmful things to it. So that is what that is for processed for whole foods, eating whole foods and avoiding processed foods. Um, the reason for that is, when I think I already touched on it. If you're eating whole foods, you allow your body to break down the foods and absorb the glucose slowly. When you're eating whole foods, the sugar is not picked up too quick because the body is seeing it in its raw state or in its bigger units. The only way you broke it down is in your mouth. And so it takes the body a long time to absorb all the glucose. So your glucose don't spike, your sugars don't go up quickly compared to somebody who has taken in something that is processed. They already broke down the complex carbohydrates. They already broke it down to its smaller units that when they hit your belly, your body sees it's already in its state where it can be absorbed. And so it just absorbs. There's no digestion, no time to digest. It's just boom, it's in your blood and your sugar spikes. So that is a way to avoid that, is to eat them whole, not processed. I may come back to it again because it cuts across a lot of other areas. Yeah. But with that being said, let's move on to the next one. The other one that we also want to talk about is the grains. High fiber rich foods such as grains, whole grains. And example on the video that you see is quinoa. Quinoa, most people don't know, but some people do. If you want to introduce quinoa, it's a great way of introducing whole grains into your meals, and this will definitely make sure that you do not spike in your sugar levels. Why? Because it is slowly absorbed. You see how it is? The body takes time to break it down. The top image is a quinoa salad. It's a salad on which quinoa has been added, and so it basically makes it complex for the body to just break down. It doesn't go to the blood right quick, and so when you eat, it stays in your belly for a long time. You don't just get hungry. Unlike when you eat fufu, which is made from the store, you eat, and 10 minutes later, you feel like you didn't even eat. Why? Because all the starch has been converted. Or you eat potatoes. You eat quickly, it's all gone. That's why in the US, when we eat potato, they always want to juice it up with butter. Because without the butter, that's the fat, it's just going to be completely gone. You'll be hungry right back. Why? Because it is picked up too quickly, even though it is seemingly complex because of its unit so soft and so already broken down. It goes up too quick in your blood. So that is another way to see it. So that is whole grains and high rich, I mean, rich fiber foods or fiber rich foods, I should say. So examples are those that we are showing. You may find an example in your area of what fiber rich foods are. It may not just be the quinoa, it could be any other grain. You know, some people use corn. Too much corn is got its own problems, but any grain, beans, lentils, all those things, any other legumes, you know, you could use all whole grain, and they are high in fiber. And fiber slows down the absorption of glucose, so your sugars don't spike. So if you are concerned with getting your sugar levels, you know, too high, reach out for fiber-rich foods. Not only the fruits and vegetables, which are perfect, but also in grains, lentils, and beans. You could do that also. All right. So with that, let's move on. The next one is adequate hydration. And when we talk about adequate hydration, we're talking about drinking fluids. And so some people say, I'm not a water drinker. I don't like water. I can't. In fact, I've heard people say that, no, I cannot drink water. The only sources of water they get is when they eat and there's water in there, or when they are eating and they need to push down the food a little bit with water they drink. But in between meals, they don't drink water. And if you are concerned with the sugar levels, you have to like to include water as part of a healthy, balanced diet in your with your meals. You know, so throughout the day, as you meal plan, put it on the calendar or however plan, whatever plan you make sure that you make room for adding fluids. And I am sure that you know by now that we don't tolerate soda or juice on this channel. Come on, man. My goodness. If you are watching this for the first time, we welcome you, but we want to make you aware that we don't encourage that you drink soda. If you drink soda today, let it be your last. I can come to your home and stop you, but I hope that if you stay long enough with us on this show, you will know that you should not drink soda anymore. Any kind of soda, or as other people call it, minerals. Whatever sugary drink you can think of. Some people they don't drink the Fanta, the Cokes, and the those things, but they drink other sources of sugary or sugar stained drinks. They say that, oh, this is fruit juice, it's gotten sugar added. That's not your friend. Eat the fruit itself. Eat the orange by itself and get that sugar in the orange in the natural state. Don't let somebody juice your orange for you and then add sugar to it, add sodium to it to make it last long, and then you add it, you drink it, and your blood pressure goes up the roof, and then your blood sugar goes up the roof. No, we don't take that. Come on. We don't get that here. No way. And I hope you agree, even with these two reasons I've given you. So please, drink water is the best. But if you are not somebody who can drink water, you can add tea. You can add any form of tea that you can drink. Just make sure you don't stain it with water. I mean, with sugar. Drink your black tea, your green tea, your chai tea, or any form of tea. I'm not mentioning coffee because coffee can also be dehydrating. Coffee can get rid of water from you. At some point, if you drink too much coffee, you become dehydrated. But if just a little coffee, that's fine. Maybe one cup of coffee a day. Tops 2 cups, no more than 2 cups a day. But definitely make sure that you are drinking fluids. No sugar added fluid. No sugar. No way, no how that you drink something that has sugar in it. No way. That one, if you do that, you will be reported to us and we will chastise you on this channel. All right. Now, if you are finding value, just make sure you hit the like and share so that other people will also enjoy. But definitely, we are not for sugary drinks. Hydrate, all right. Drink as much fluids as you can, as long as there is no sugar added. Especially if it is water, if it's tea, then go for it. Unless you make your own juice. Some people can make their own juice from like watermelon. You juice it up, you didn't add any sugar to it, but you can drink water. You want to drink that, that is fine. Watermelon has its own benefits, which we can get to next time, at some point. But even that, it shouldn't be overdone. So definitely not sugary drinks, but hydrate all right and drink in between meals and with meals so that you can stay hydrated, especially if you are diabetes conscious person. You don't want to get it. You drinking will help you digest and make you also eliminate whatever you have to eliminate in the form of toxins that comes through your kidneys and all that. So that is definitely important. All right, and also for a diabetic person, if you drink, you help your kidneys work easier because dehydration can put another strain on your kidneys, especially if you have diabetes. But if you don't have diabetes, you have blood pressure, whatever you have, just take it, whatever it is, just drink fluids, considerable amount of fluids, not too much, but at least make sure that you are drinking around the clock in your day, especially if you live in a hot climate. I don't even have to say, you have to be drinking all the time. If you live in the tropics, you definitely have to drink all the time to replace whatever you lose through sweating. But for the rest of us, where it's cold, you have to make the intentional effort because sometimes it's so cold you don't even feel thirsty, but you still have to drink something. Water. Drink water, not something. Drink water and get your metabolism going, get your kidneys cleaned out, and get yourself healthy. All right, so that is the other one. Now let's move on. And the next food item that we mentioned is that complex carbohydrates and portions. I think I've already mentioned some of the complex carbohydrates. I mentioned, maybe plantains, maybe cassava, maybe rice. I haven't mentioned potatoes, but definitely you have to have portion size in your mind. If you are doing complex carbohydrates, which we want you to include in your meal planning, you definitely need some form of a carbohydrate in your meals, no matter what. Just a little bit. Portion is a key. If you are sitting down and eating two ball sizes of fufu, two ball sizes of potatoes, two ball sizes of, well, give me all the starchy foods you eat out there, rice, and it's so huge. You fill your plate, and sometimes it's so huge that you are even shy to let people see. You are eating too much carbohydrates. If you would substitute that with greens, substitute that with salad, substitute that with some form of a grain, that is better. But definitely a little bit doesn't hurt. So make sure you eat your complex carbohydrates. And by complex carbohydrates, we're talking about carbohydrates like we're seeing on the screen. Rice is good unless if it is polished. Polished rice is processed rice. And remember what we said first about processing. If you eat it processed, you have given your body the impetus to take all the blood, all the sugar from it and put it in your blood. But if you eat it not polished, some brown rice even, oh my goodness, then you slow down the absorption of sugar into your blood. It stays in you, you don't get hungry quicker, and because it's also complex, doesn't break down quickly. But if you eat pure polished rice, what we call perfumed rice, then even though it seems, it is a complex carbohydrate, all right, but because you have eliminated the fiber that was protecting it from being digested too quickly, you are going to grab it too quick into your belly, and your blood sugar is going to spike. And the key is not to do that. And so let's stick to the complex carbohydrates that have not been processed. And then also the portion size again. Make sure that you are eating in smaller amounts. Replace the huge portions of your plate, which used to be starchy food, with smaller amounts. We are gonna actually make a real detailed video about some portions that we think people should be eating instead of just generalized like this. Like if it comes to specific food in the community, we are going to show people how much they should eat. Not the same mentality that we had. Like if you're a father and they make your food, they got to make it two big balls, and make sure that the soup is running all over with the meat because you are the dad of the house. Well, the dad of the house, they make sure you also die first because you are the dad of the house by eating like that. But come on, man, we are going to show you not to do that. We are saying that no, the dad of the house should live long to take care of the family. And And so for that reason, we're going to show you that don't eat those huge stacks of food that people, out of love, give you, because they think that they're doing good by giving you all the best, the biggest portions of carbs, the biggest portions of fatty meat, because they're showing you respect, you work hard, and you're giving all the money for the food that you're getting. No, those days are over. Those days must be gone. Yours should be the least, the little big bite size of food, if it's a starch, and then the rest being your soup and your greens and your lentils and your fruits and those things, so that you become healthy rather than to become so obese, with pot belly and not being able to carry yourself around just because you are the dad. It doesn't work like that. All right, so that is what we mean by portion size, and also with complex carbohydrates. Again, some of the foods, that's what we're showing you right there. But there are some roots, some cassava. People are talking about yucca as having very good health benefits. But the way some people eat yucca, which is cassava, they pound it and make it into starch, make it broken down so much that when you eat it, it becomes a poison now, because all the sugar is now going to go to the bloodstream. But if you eat it, by chewing, then of course it would be okay. But even that, you still have to mind the portion size. You still can't eat a basket full of yucca and think that because it's complex, you are not getting diabetes. No, you still got to reduce the amount while you are also eating it not processed. Come on, man. I think you're getting some value. All right. All right. So now that is that. Let's see. The next one we're going to talk about is lean proteins. So we are talking still about the components of the meal plan. What the kinds of meals you're going to plan. So if you know what goes into a meal, then when you are planning, you make sure that you have them all in your fridge, or at least you shop for them. That is why we're talking about these details. Because if you don't know what to plan for, then of course it's still going to be the same. You're just going to still go shop and shop for the wrong stuff and still plan and eat the wrong stuff. So that's why we're going into a little detail of showing you what are the components in the plan that we want you to make. So we got 3 people giving us a thumbs up right now. Come on, man. If you are on and you haven't shared or you haven't given us any thumbs up, come on, make sure you give us that right now. All right. All right. So let's move on. So now the next food group is the lean proteins. Lean proteins. And we show you an example right now as a fish, or fatty fish, as we can say. Fatty fish could be what? Mackerel, it could be salmon, it could be sardines. Any one of those giant fish groups are some of the protein sources that we want you to get. We know that everybody needs some protein. Right? From now, somebody who is health conscious, somebody who doesn't want to get diabetes, or somebody who is already diabetic, somebody who is hypertensive, somebody who wants to protect themselves against all these chronic heart or cardiovascular diseases, that we group them as cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks, heart disease, and strokes, or even peripheral artery disease. Somebody who doesn't want to get all these diseases, some of the protein sources that you need to reach for are the lean proteins that we are showing. And one of them is the salmon, the mackerels, and the sardines, or any large fish group that you can talk about. I think it may include tilapia, which is also one common one for the community that I know. Tilapia is one, except that we also want to make sure that we are not getting the ones that are done, they are raised in our homes, and some of them use hormones and some feeds to make them big so quick, so that the health benefits are not there. If you can afford the wild caught salmon or the wild caught tilapia, those are the best. But the home raised or the farm raised are still better than eating fatty sources for your protein. So definitely reach out for the light fish groups such as salmon, sardines, mackerel, tilapia, and those that you know that I don't know. And then also poultry. You could go for chicken, skinless chicken. You could go for skinless a turkey, skinless duck, any one of those birds that you can find, as long as you take the fats away from them and you use them. Those are also good sources of lean protein. So basically what we call white meat. It's what you want to go for. And then also plant protein sources such as legumes and beans, black-eyed peas. Beans. We call some food in my community, we call it beans. We thought it was bad, but it's good. Except that in the past they used too much red oil. But if you can find it now and use your olive oil for it, come on, man, that's good. That's a good thing. It becomes a source of protein, and because it's a lot of fiber, it stays in you for a long time, and then your blood sugar doesn't spike unless you eat it too much. Of course, if you do too much, then you're going to spike. So that is another source. All right, so that is your source of of protein for you. Now, because of time, I'm running a little bit. Now, if you go to sources of fat, healthy fats, which have to also be included in your meal plan, then some of the fat sources that we can talk about are your avocados. Avocados, until recently, most people didn't think that avocado had enough fat sources for people. But there's even oils that we call avocado oil. Not that I want you to go for avocado oil, but I want you to eat the real avocado itself. Take a whole, a full fruit of avocado and cut it up, make your sandwich with it, add egg, avocado plus egg. Instead of doing butter and egg or cheese and egg, you do avocado and egg. And on a multigrain bread, not a whole white bread or even wheat bread, but a multigrain, something that you can really see that is healthy. Those are going to be very good sources of breakfast for you. So, avocado oils. This person is sprinkling olive oil also as a source of good oil. So if you are doing any meals in the house, your salads, all those kinds of quick meals that you can make, even maybe frying eggs, quick frying eggs, use your olive oils. Those are healthy sources of oil rather than the seed and the corn oils that we spoke about in the past videos that are not healthy for you because of the processing. And even with the olive oil, if you want to go further, you could do the extra virgin olive oil. Those are also less processed, and they are extracted with most of the benefits still intact in the extra virgin olive oil. I believe you can afford it. We always say that, but those things are expensive. You are more expensive. And the good thing is, some of these things you don't need a lot because the way you use it, you don't need a lot. And so a little bottle of olive oil can last you a couple or maybe a family of 5 for a long time because you don't use it all the time and you don't use a lot also. It's not because it's good you're going to drink it like that. No. Of course, you can drink olive oil, a tablespoon. As a matter of fact, 1 or 2 tablespoons a day of olive oil has been shown to, boost your health in several ways. So you could also do that. But for cooking, you don't need a lot of olive oil for that anyway. So those are your fat sources, including also nuts. Nuts, and that is also something that is going to be very helpful to you. And this nut is I've done a lot of research on healthy diet, and every disease state, everything that I look for, whether it is erectile dysfunction, whether it is hypertension, whether it is cholesterol, whether it is diabetes, this nut comes up all the time. Though I don't like it because of the fact that they are mentioning, I'm beginning to think maybe I should eat it too. Walnuts. You crack the walnut open and you eat it. It's like a brain in there, and apparently it also helps with memory because of the omega-3 fatty acids in them. So this is also a rich source of good healthy oil that you can include in your daily meals. And you don't have to buy it with still in the case like this. You could buy those ones that are peeled already. And if you're eating a cereal or if you're eating something, you can add a little bit, in there, or even a salad with sprinkled walnuts. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Even a salad. Or a snack, an afternoon snack with just walnuts and a cup or glass of milk. Oh, come on, man. If I don't make you hungry now, I don't know when I'm going to make you hungry. Hungry for the right stuff, right? So those are some of the things that you can include in the meal plan. I think that in the interest of time, I probably should wait and talk, have another video with Gifty, my co-host, on the prep, on the prep itself and the examples that you need to include in, the examples of breakfast, examples of, lunch and and dinner that we should have. So let me see if I don't have anything. Oh, there's one more source of oil of healthy oils. That's the avocado that I was actually talking about. I didn't know I had a slide for it. So I'm actually done with this one because I already spoke about the fact that avocado has rich source of oils, healthy oils, that you don't have to squeeze it out. Just eat the avocado yourself, and you're gonna get a benefit of all those good healthy sources of oil in the avocado. If you are conscious about eating right, the components of the meal plan, you should definitely include that also. And that with that, I'm just gonna have us end here so that we will have another show with just the meal prep itself, the examples itself. And I think on that show, Gifty will be very instrumental because she does a lot of cooking here and she could bring her expertise into the examples that we could do. So hopefully tomorrow her voice will be back and then we can do it together. But until we see you, I just want to see if you have any comments. Make sure you put it on the chat so that we can share and question or answer that you may have or contribution that you may have. It's been a good time. It's been a fun Sunday afternoon towards Christmas, and we want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to share, click the like button, and and all the other good stuff that YouTube and Facebook want you to do, so that the video will be seen by all other people who may need it. All right. So until we see you, hopefully tomorrow evening, if her voice is back. Otherwise, will be next Sunday. Until then, I say, beloved or dear friend, my wish for you is that you prosper and be healthy, even as your soul is already prospering. Thanks for watching. God bless.